Hello, welcome to Christian's Kitchen. My name is Christian, and today we're going to be making homemade yogurt in the Instapot. Why homemade yogurt? Well, I think yogurt is one of the best fermented foods to make to get your feet wet in the whole realm of making fermented foods. And using the Instapot makes it that much easier. Now, I've done yogurt in the sous vide bath, I've done it in dehydrator, and I've also used the oven while keeping the oven door open. And the Instapot by far is the easiest way of making yogurt. And to tell you the truth, today was actually my first time ever using the Instapot to make yogurt. So I was pleasantly surprised at how easy it really is. To make homemade yogurt or yogurt from scratch, you have to start with a yogurt starter. And you can buy just a regular plain yogurt at the grocery store. The one thing that they do recommend is that you start with a yogurt that has 2 strains of bacteria. This one is Green Mountain Creamery Greek yogurt, and this one has 5 strains of bacteria, which is fantastic. And it has made a fantastic tasting yogurt. So the next step with making your yogurt is we're going to take the milk and we're going to put it in to our Instapot. It's probably a little bit more than a half a gallon, and I probably didn't make a full half gallon of the last yogurt, but we're going to dump that in there like so without making too big of a mess. Got a little crazy with the pour there. And one thing I need to note is when you are making fermented foods, yogurt in particular, but any fermented foods, whether it's beer, kimchi, sauerkraut, or yogurt, you want to make sure that everything is very clean and sterile. Fortunately for the yogurt, we're going to boil it first, the milk here, and that's going to kill off any pathogens that could be inside the milk that would compete against the strains of bacteria that's going to be in our yogurt starter. But you really want to make sure everything is very clean before you start making it. So now that we've put the milk into our Instapot, we're going to put the top on. I am not good at putting the top on the Instapot. And then we're going to come here and we're going to press the yogurt button. And you might have to press it a couple times. So right now it's on the low setting. Now it's on the regular setting. This is what we would do when we're actually making yogurt once the starter's in here. But we need to first do the boil. And now the Instapot is flashing boil. So it's going to take about 8 minutes. It's going to bring that milk up to a boil. It's going to kill off those pathogens. And then when that's done, we're going to take that pot of milk and we're going to run it into an ice bath to bring it down to about 110 degrees, which is pretty much the optimum temperature that we want to put our starter culture of yogurt into this milk. Now, one thing I want to note about the milk is you can use organic, you can use non-organic, you can even use raw milk. The raw milk will be sterilized when it's put in the Instapot since it's brought up to a boil. The other thing to note is that your fat content of your milk is very important. You want a higher fat content. So in this case, I'm using whole milk instead of 2% or 1% milk. The reason why is you're going to get a much creamier and thicker yogurt because of that. So keep that in mind when you decide to make your yogurt. Well, the Instapot just beeped to let me know that it's done boiling. And now we can take our milk and we can take out the pot and transfer it to the sink to give the pot a nice cold water bath to cool it down. We want to bring the temperature down to that 110 degrees. So let's do that. Take this guy out. We'll go. So we'll set it in the water bath here. I've got some of these reusable ice cube blocks for using coolers. That way the water's really cold. Then we'll take a clean spoon and we will circulate the milk here. Give it a good stir so that way it'll help with the cooling process, combination of the air and then the water from the sides. We're trying to bring the temperature down as quick as possible. That way we don't have as much of a chance to get something else inside this bacteria-wise. It takes about 3 to 5 minutes for this thing to be able to cool down. You can already feel the water warming up in the sink from the heat radiating off the pot. Okay, this has been sitting in here for a few minutes. Let's stick a thermometer in here, see what temperature we're at. It's moving up pretty slowly. I'm thinking this thing's probably sitting at about 100 degrees. So we're a little bit under temp, which is fine. We just want to make sure that we don't kill the starter culture, the yogurt that we're going to be introducing into this. So we're sitting at 100 degrees. Now it's time to move this back to the Instapot. We want to make sure that we wipe off the water, the excess water that's on the pot. And we will put this guy right back in here. So now, at this point, we're ready for our starter culture of yogurt. I'll reach right over here, grab a spoon. And I'm going to use about 3 tablespoons. I'm not going to measure it out just because I've got a pretty good idea as to what it looks like. Run 3 tablespoons of yogurt. My fingers are clean. I just washed my hands. Put this guy in there like so. Grab a napkin. And I'm going to give this guy a stir. Kind of mix up that starter yogurt into this. Spread all that good bacteria around. It's probably the only time you'd ever say that. And now we should be ready to put the lid back on. We will do that. Wow, one shot. There we go. And now we need to press the yogurt button up here twice. So I am going to run this for 12 hours. It doesn't have to go exactly for 12 hours. It could go for less. I could stop it after 8. You can just hit cancel and it will stop. The nice thing with this is that I can pop the top off, check it as it's going, and once it gets to the point that I like, then I can shut it down. So for now, we're just going to wait. We'll wait for 2 to 4 hours and we'll check our yogurt at that time. Well, there we go. There's our final product. For all our hard work, actually it wasn't really that hard, but you can see the texture is really beautiful. It's nice and congealed. It's pulling from the sides. Take a spoon, take out a chunk. Look how beautiful that is. Yeah. Let's try a bite. Wow, that is some really good yogurt. It is so thick and so creamy. That came out beautiful. So now I've got a half a gallon of beautiful yogurt. And the great thing is it was so easy to make in the Instant Pot. But you may be asking yourself, why a half a gallon of yogurt? Well, this is really going to be used to make yogurt cheese. I want to make 2 videos. One on how to make a cheesecake with your homemade yogurt. And then actually it's probably going to be a Bast cheesecake because I've just seen a couple videos of making that Bast cheesecake and that thing looks amazing. So I want to try using this for doing that video. And then I want to make a video on making a couple different dips using this in place of cream cheese. I have found that yogurt works really well. Well, yogurt cheese in particular. So you're able to make your dip, you're able to make your cheesecake completely from scratch. You have full control of the ingredients that are going into it. Now that we're done with making our yogurt, let's jump into making yogurt cheese. To make yogurt cheese, it's actually really easy. You only need a couple of things: your finished yogurt, a bowl, some cheesecloth. I've pre-soaked it so that way it's just easier to work with than dry cheesecloth. A clip to be able to hold the ball together once you've rolled up the cheesecloth with your yogurt. You can use twine as well. A strainer to be able to use in the bowl to hold the ball of cheese above the draining whey. And then a ladle to be able to ladle out your yogurt into the bowl. So let's start doing that. I'm going to just take a little bit of our yogurt here. I don't want to put too much in because I want this thing manageable to be able to sit. I'll set this over here. So now we've got our yogurt in the bowl. I'm going to wrap it up with our cheesecloth like so. Give it a little spin to keep it taut, so that way it helps with the drain. And there you can actually see the whey draining. You can give it a little squeeze, but sometimes it'll push out the top, or I've had it where it blows out the cheesecloth, so we're not going to do that. We're just going to be patient. We're going to put it in here, and we're going to put this in the fridge and let it sit overnight. And by tomorrow, we should have our final product. Well, the yogurt has had a chance to sit overnight in the fridge, draining out the whey. Let's take a look at the final product. Got a nice ball of yogurt cheese. Look at that. That is beautiful. Take our spoon. You can see the consistency there. Let's take a bite. That is some really good yogurt cheese. And that is going to make a really good dip and a really good cheesecake. So stay tuned for a future video where I make a Basque cheesecake and I make 3 of my favorite dips using yogurt cheese.